Welcome to this North Carolina Botanical Garden Lunchbox talk. We're so happy to be here with you today and grateful to have some amazing guests with us today for this Lunchbox talk. I'm Joanna Massey-Lalikas. I'm the Director of Learning and Community Engagement with the North Carolina Botanical Garden. And co-moderating with me today is David Michaud. He'll be supporting the question and answer period that will take place after the presentations. We are grateful to have an international audience with us today, and we welcome you all for attending today. Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to take a moment now to introduce Emilee Weaver. She will then introduce our other special guests today. Emilee Weaver is the Therapeutic Horticulture Program Manager at the North Carolina Botanical Garden. We're located in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Emilee's been with us for a couple of years now and has been an amazing advocate for therapeutic horticulture in our area as well as internationally. And I'm really excited that she has begun working on this partnership and has had the opportunity to share this work around the world. And with that, I'll hand it over to Emilee Weaver. Thank you.
All right, there we go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today is more than just a webinar. It's a celebration. 2 years of hard work, innovative collaboration, and dedication have made this celebration possible. And I'll be sharing the history of how the North Carolina Botanical Gardens work with Ukraine began, but the real stars of this show are our Ukrainian partners, many of which have joined us today, and who may be willing to answer some questions in the Q&A later if you have any for them. They advocated for themselves and asked for TH education so that they could serve their country who are in the midst of a devastating war. So we're simply the lucky ones who get to answer that call. And so with that said, I'd like to share some background information on how the North Carolina Botanical Garden became involved with Ukraine. In 2022, NCBG, in collaboration with our partners, the North Carolina State University, created a 100% online certificate in therapeutic horticulture program. And we created this because there was a growing demand for accessible and affordable TH education. The online program is a series of 4 or 6 week-long courses that take about a year to complete. And when students leave, they're prepared with the ability to develop, facilitate, and manage their own TH programs. In the chat, if you take a look, we'll put a link there so that you can learn more about the certificate program if you'd like to. But we're really excited because 2 years after we created this program in 2022, we were contacted by a veteran rehabilitation hospital in Kiev, Ukraine. Kind of came completely out of the blue, but we're so glad that they found us. They asked us whether we would consider translating our online certificate program into Ukrainian so that their clinicians could offer TH to wounded veterans. I don't know about you, but watching the news every day and seeing the atrocities that are unfolding in Ukraine, I've often wondered how I can personally make a difference in the situation. So when I received that request from the hospital, that question was essentially answered. And on a professional level, the project deeply aligns with NCBG's mission to connect people and plants. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me and for NCBG to kind of answer the call. So we accepted the challenge and found a way to transform a translation project that would normally cost around $30,000 into a project that costs $2,000. And we achieved this by utilizing different emerging AI tools that are coming into focus now, as many of you may know. We also had an incredibly skilled instructional designer from our partners at NC State. and a lot of time donated by myself, Partnerships for Nature, and a team of dedicated Ukrainian women who actually proofread the AI translations to ensure its accuracy. To say that we're a well-oiled team would be an understatement. It's pretty incredible to see what we've been able to accomplish. So as of this year, we've translated the first of 4 online courses and plan to complete the remaining 3 within the next 12 to 18 months. When we're finished, we'll be able to make our program accessible to anyone who speaks Ukrainian. So though we were able to greatly reduce the cost for this project, the $2,000 that I mentioned, it doesn't cover any of the hundreds of hours of labor it takes to actually coordinate the translation process. And this is why we've been doing our best to share our story, because we know that we just cannot do this alone. So we'd love for anybody listening to share our story with others. And if you feel led to financially support our efforts to make TH training accessible to the country of Ukraine, we'll be providing a donation link in the group chat. The translation project was actually just the start. We provided several webinars for the Veteran Hospital, and through that process, Abby Myers from Botanical Gardens Conservation International, also known as BGCI, put us into contact with Partnerships for Nature. And I'll let Tony, who's graciously with us today, provide more details about Partnerships for Nature in a couple minutes, but they opened some major doors for us, and connected us with 12 botanical gardens in Ukraine, and to numerous botanical gardens and nonprofits in Armenia who are now also wanting access to TH training. I can honestly say that I've never partnered with an organization that is more dedicated, thorough, mission-driven, and productive than Partnerships for Nature. They make the impossible possible, and I cannot thank them enough. So for about over a year, we've been working with Partnerships for Nature to build relationships with several Ukrainian botanical gardens who felt that they had the capacity to start TH programs, even in the midst of war. We've provided site-specific program development consultation. We've created TH resources and tools and co-created several tools as a team with the Ukrainians, all at no cost to our partners. Together, we're strategically training TH trainers in several public gardens spaced around the whole country of Ukraine. So the training we're providing to garden leaders actually exponentially expands nature-based healing opportunities to thousands of garden visitors. The garden representatives that you'll hear more from today are literally some of the very first formally trained TH practitioners in the country of Ukraine. So like I said, this is a celebration, and I look forward to you guys getting to hear more about their work. As thousands of Ukrainian civilians are displaced from occupied areas and flood to the western side of the country, botanical gardens have become sanctuaries for these folks. We're really excited to have the opportunity to share some of the success stories of our partners who have fought against all odds and created TH programs despite daily power outages, bombings, and emotional trauma. For those of you familiar with the TH field, you know that it's hard enough to create a program in the US with advanced TH education at your fingertips and in a time of peace, let alone in an active war zone with limited TH education and air raid sirens sounding around you. And that is the reality for so many of the partners that we're working with right now. Again, I invite you to celebrate and honor the strength and resilience of the Ukrainian people with me today. In a few minutes, you'll get a front row seat to some of the outcomes of the TH training we've provided and the beautiful partners who inspire us to work harder and to be part of the solution in Ukraine. So I'll hand it off to Tony Allison, who is the board president and co-founder of Partnerships for Nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Hello, good afternoon. Still morning here on the West Coast. thank you for the warm words, Emilee, all said so well and so powerfully. Thanks to Joanna and the whole NCBG team. They've provided collaboration over many months now that's allowed us to offer and move forward with TH training in Ukraine. TH, of course, is extremely important all across America and the world, but it's especially important in Ukraine for the reasons that Emilee just talked about. And I want to add, we've done an enormous amount of online collaboration, very productive, that you'll learn more about. And we also are planning a trip to conduct workshops on TH in Armenia. And then, since we can't go to Ukraine, we're doing one in Poland, southeastern Poland, for Ukrainian Botanical Garden staff who are being trained in TH. And the goal here really is so that they can get in a position to train others themselves, sort of teach the teacher, train the trainer idea. And as Emilee said, your support is really, really appreciated, and some of it may help us to conduct those in-person workshops, which are a great supplement to the online collaboration. A few words about Partnerships for Nature, and just a few words. My colleague and co-founder, Ariadna Reida, whom you'll see in a minute, is putting in the chat our website. So if you're interested in learning more, please go to our website. Partnerships for Nature was founded in 2020 as a nonprofit, and it was founded by a number of people, including myself and Ariadna, who had been involved for more than a decade with environmental education exchanges with the countries of the former Soviet Union. We previously worked with Eastern Russia quite intensively, and since the invasion in 2022, we have ceased that collaboration, and we hope that someday it can happen again when things change. Right now, we're very focused on Ukraine and also on the countries of, and go ahead and move the slide there, David, thank you. Also with the countries, other countries you'll see in a minute. Our mission is to build collaborative relationships to enhance nature education, sustainable living, conservation, and ecotourism. And the photo there is an example of us working with environmental educators who are in turn working with children playing the game Web of Life. And so this is the kind of work we've been doing overseas and bringing groups to the United States now for many years. Go ahead with the next slide, David. And so our geographic reach, as I mentioned, used to include Russia, now includes Ukraine, Georgia, Armenia, and Moldova. And we look to expand further, mainly focusing on countries of the former Soviet Union. And our recent, over the last year, focus on therapeutic horticulture, nature healing, is definitely going to continue in all of those countries. But our main priority right now is Ukraine. And as Emilee mentioned, we've got many Ukrainians here today. Fortunately, the power situation is slightly better now than it was a couple of weeks ago. They've been able to join us. They're from 12 different botanic gardens, and they are, as Emilee said, the real heroes, the real center of this whole project. They always show up whenever they can and are extremely dedicated. And in a minute, you'll see the progress they have made in therapeutic horticulture. So at this point, I'd like to introduce my very close colleague and our sort of lead collaborator in Ukraine, Andriy Prokopiv, who is the director of Lviv University Botanic Garden in Western Ukraine. Andriy will speak in Ukrainian with translation into English. Thank you. Go ahead, Andriy.
Hello, everyone. If you allow me, I will speak briefly Ukrainian. Передусім хочу щиро подякувати за представлення Тоні.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Tony, for introducing me.
Насправді, з 2018 року ми мали можливість запізнатися на Світовому конгресі в Варшаві, і з того часу підтримуємо сталі контакти.
We have met, first time we met in Warsaw in World Congress в Estonia in 2018.
З початком повномасштабного вторгнення Росії в Україну, з початком війни, ми особливо почали тісно співпрацювати, і та допомога дуже відчутна для нас.
We have started to work very tightly from the beginning of the war, and their support is much felt by us.
З ініціативи Partnerships for Nature, з підтримки BGCI, ботанічні сади зуміли отримати важливу допомогу і підтримку під час воєнних дій.
With the help of Partners for Nature and BGCI, Botanical Gardens in Ukraine have managed to feel great and huge support by them.
Partnerships for Nature стали своєрідною парасолькою для багатьох ботанічних садів України, і ми дуже вдячні за цю підтримку і опіку.
Partnership for Nature has become a kind of umbrella for all botanical gardens in Ukraine, and one more time we would like to thank them for their support.
Нас дуже часто говорять про те, що добрі справи робляться тихо, і справді теж все, що відбувається вже впродовж третього року війни, ми відчуваємо в формі різноманітної підтримки, і це робиться не для якогось звітування, це робиться просто від душі, від серця, і ми за це дуже вдячні.
We always say that good duties, good business is done silently, and we can feel it. We can feel it, and we can feel their support, their understanding, and their support, their help is done not just to be shown off, to be seen by everyone, but it is done by just with a good help and silently.
В цьому часі ми шукаємо різноманітні вектори нашої співпраці, і зараз, як ніколи, на часі в нас є розвиток програм з терапевтичного садівництва. Ми це особливо гостро відчуваємо зараз.
We have been looking for different ways of cooperation, and right now what we can see that really therapeutic horticulture is very much needed nowadays, and we can see it.
Ми дуже вдячні, що програми ботанічного саду університету Північної Кароліни, зокрема старання Емілі і її колеги, дали можливість впродовж півроку вже працювати в спільній команді і вчити колег з ботанічних садів цьому напрямку.
We would like to thank to University of North Carolina, especially to Emilee, with whom we have been working for nearly half a year, and they have helped us a lot, and we can feel their support and help quite much.
Про здобутки наші колеги зараз можуть розповісти в своєму короткому відео, а я з приємністю маю можливість передати слово нашому другові Аріадні Рейді, яка продовжить вступ до нашого відео. Дякую.
More information about what we have managed to succeed you will see in the video, and I would like to give a word to our friend and good friend and colleague Ariadna, and Ariadna will give more information about the work.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ariadna Reida. As Andriy and Tony mentioned, I work for Partnerships for Nature. And for this webinar, we had a big plan to provide all of you with a good opportunity to listen to 4 people from different botanical gardens in Ukraine, located in different places, so they can share their work with you. However, because of the power outages and phone communications disconnections, because Russia was extremely aggressive in the last months, we are not able to feature live speakers today. So we decided that we would pre-record videos of the speakers so you could still hear their voices. And it also got disrupted by the Russian attacks. So therefore, what we've done, we've translated their presentations, and I gave voice to those presentations in English. And that's what you're going to see, presentations done by Ukrainians, the PowerPoint presentations, and I will be speaking their words in English for you to learn what they've been doing in the last about a year. And after that, you will have a chance to ask them questions. Quite a bit of Ukrainians are online right now with all of you. So the first presentation will be by Andriy Prokopiv. Our first presentation will be by Andriy Prokopiv. My name is Andriy Prokopiv. For 25 years, I have been working as the director of one of the oldest botanical gardens in Ukraine, the Botanical Garden of Lviv University. The city of Lviv is located in western Ukraine. The area of our botanical garden is about 50 acres. There are 5 separate departments in our botanical garden that are devoted to botanical research. There are more than 5,000 species in our collections. We are very proud that in 2003, our collection of tropical and subtropical plants was officially awarded a status Ukrainian National Treasure. Most of botanical gardens belong to regional universities. There are also pretty large botanical gardens that are run by the National Academy of Sciences. These larger gardens are in Kyiv, Kryvyi Rih, and Donetsk. After the war started, our botanical gardens faced a lot of difficulties. Our main problem is that we've been losing employees. Much needed help has come from our colleagues at Partnerships for Nature, which is a small American nonprofit. A first batch of financial assistance went to 4 botanical gardens in Kharkiv, Kryvyi Rih, Kyiv, and Lviv. This is an example of collaboration between our Ukrainian Botanical Gardens, Partnerships for Nature, and BGCI, or Botanical Gardens Conservation International. BGCI was able to organize a large-scale campaign to support Ukrainian botanical gardens. Many botanical gardens from all over the world answered the call. Most of the donations came from American botanical gardens and individuals. We are so grateful for their help. So 10 Ukrainian botanical gardens used these donations to pay staff and to purchase electrical generators. We needed those generators to heat greenhouses during the long power outages that came from Russian missiles attacks. This support was a lifeline for us in saving our botanical collections. In June of last year, I personally was able to say thank you to all American colleagues at the annual APGA conference in Fort Worth. I also was able to make special presentations about our botanical gardens in San Diego and Los Angeles. During the war, we've had many visitors coming to our botanical gardens to relieve their stress. There are many people from occupied Eastern Ukraine who had to move to the West. They come to our gardens for positive experience. Among our visitors, there are many children who require special attention and support. We had to rethink how to lead tours for people who are here to escape their worries. Working with children's refugees, we became convinced that we need to utilize a different approach in delivering information to them about the plant world. Our plant world can help children to perceive their environment differently, while at the same time they're having fun. We found that also we needed new approaches to our work with children and adults with special needs. We reached out to North Carolina Botanical Garden to learn more about therapeutic horticulture, or TH. TH programs will be important for all Ukrainians, but especially for our war veterans. Thank you. And now I ask my colleague Miroslava Helish to tell you more about therapeutic gardening. The next two presentations are led by Miroslava Helish. Greetings to all. My name is Miroslava Helish. I also work in the Botanical Garden of Lviv National University. Today, I'd like to share with you some of the steps we took to implement therapeutic horticulture programs in our botanical gardens. Our war with Russia is still going on. We are still facing problems with mass internal migration of Ukrainians from east to west. So many people are affected by the war, both civilians and military. Therapeutic gardening is based on healthy interaction between humans and nature. Worldwide, it is used to help people suffering from physical and emotional trauma. It is an effective tool for lots of people, refugees, veterans, people with disabilities, and anybody affected by the war. Botanical gardens are ideal sites for TH programs because they are located in or near the city with easy public access. They possess a diversity of landscapes and plants that are needed for therapeutic horticulture programs. They enjoy highly qualified staff and have skills to stage healthy gardening activities. This last year, a few botanical gardens in Lviv, Odessa, Kiev, Kryvyi Rih, Chernivtsi joined the global movement for therapeutic horticulture. They began to develop and implement their own programs. To get started, we relied on our colleagues from Partnerships for Nature and the North Carolina Botanical Garden. We are very grateful to them. About 6 months ago, we created a therapeutic horticulture study group with representatives from each of these 5 participating botanical gardens. We meet with each other almost every week. During these 6 months, we learned a lot about TH resources. We developed questionnaires and evaluations to plan for effective TH programs. And then we've started a number of different projects that involve therapeutic horticulture. There are 5 gardens that developed their own therapeutic horticulture projects. Before putting these projects into practice, we brought together all of our gardens to discuss each project at length. For us, Emilee Weaver was extremely valuable. She has not only helped us to develop our projects, but at the end, she gave us all very practical and positive feedback. This is one of our first TH projects in Kryvyi Rih. And then it started in Kiev. And then in Chernivtsi. And finally, in Odessa. Now we'll share details about our TH work here in Lviv, and then in Odessa and Kryvyi Rih. Here Miroslava talks a bit more about their projects in Lviv. The first step of our project was to create a physical space where we can conduct our TH programs. We decided on a space where people can use all their senses. With this in mind, we create a pathway to walk barefoot through the sensory corner. So, what do we envision? We currently have an area with a collection of plants useful for humans. This area is divided into several sections, grouped according to their use: vegetables, grains, plants for extracting essential oils, plants for industry use, and others. So, we would like to create a small sensory corner in the same area. We will install raised beds with plants, put signs nearby saying, "Smell me, touch me, taste me." This will engage our visitors. We have all these plants in our collections. So, by putting plants in separate containers, we will make them more accessible to all visitors of all abilities to touch, smell, and taste. And in the center, we would like to build a walkway for going barefoot. Here, people can walk over tender moss, forest ground cover, sands, or tree bark. By creating such a walkway, we want to introduce visitors to the diversity of human perception, stimulate their sense of touch on their feet, and improve their balance and coordination. To round out the experience, we want to place a number of interpretive signs along the way. We have already put several tables in this area and added more benches. We want this area better equipped so we can lead more effective TH programs here. But rather than wait till everything is finished, we've decided to start on our first TH program for visitors. So, our botanical garden in Lviv launched a program, Therapy in the Garden, Gardening for Children. Our first try at TH was for the audience of 5 children with special needs and their personal assistants. Our objectives were to establish contact with our children, understand what they need, create and lead a series of TH sessions over time instead of one-time event. Our activities included planting, weeding, watering, harvesting, craft making. We did it over 3 months, once every 2 weeks, and each session was about 2 or 3 hours. Over 3 months, our children spent some time gardening. They took care of their own plants, including rosemary plants, so each kid has her own box. We planted date palm seeds, but before that, tasted delicious dates. We sowed green beans and sunflowers, watered plants, and did some weeding. Our children also studied the anatomy of their plants, how plants grow, and what conditions plants need to grow. Our kids also collected fragrant herbs from our garden and made bouquets of flowers and gifts for relatives and friends. Together, we created some origami and put them on trees. In the end, all these activities allow children to relax, overcome their isolation, and start connecting with other children and adults. Here are some quotes from kids, mothers, and caregivers. For our botanical garden, these programs are a completely new experience. To be honest, we did not expect such positive reactions, such enthusiastic feedback from our participants. We saw a desire to continue to attend our programs. You can see this from these quotes. All these reviews speak for themselves, as they are sincere and warm. Of course, in addition to this program, we conduct many other activities in the garden that also contain elements of therapeutic gardening. We run excursions for other populations, such as for war veterans who are undergoing treatment in rehabilitation centers. So what do we need? For the successful implementation of our therapeutic horticulture programs, we need to adapt existing spaces in our gardens to run our TH programs, including the creation of sensory corners and of special pathways for our visitors. We need to purchase special garden tools and supplies. We need to provide internal trainings for TH practitioners, environmental educators, and communication and outreach specialists. With all these resources, our botanical gardens can really improve the health of many Ukrainians. Thank you for your support. The next presentation is by Ася Holokos. Hello, my name is Ася Holokos. I'm a deputy director of the Odessa University Botanical Garden. I'd like to speak about therapeutic horticulture programs in our botanical garden that we are running during the war. The Odessa Botanical Garden was founded over 150 years ago here along the Black Sea. Nowadays, it is a leading botanical institution in southern Ukraine. We have a great variety of trees, shrubs, ornamentals, and perennials, cacti, succulents, tropical and subtropical plants. Our garden is also a center for conservation of local flora. Our garden, as like the whole country, has been suffering from Russian aggression for almost 3 years. A lot of people working in our garden were forced to flee the country with their kids. It is much safer for them abroad. Our colleagues who remain are extremely exhausted with all the attacks. We put a lot of effort to save and protect our collections. We're also helping people who need special support, especially those who are experiencing mental and physical challenges. Last fall, a few of our Ukrainian gardens were able to attend a special workshop in Poland that was sponsored by Partnerships for Nature, San Diego Botanical Garden, and Botanical Gardens Conservation International. Thanks to this experience and to the continued determination of Ariadna, Reida, Tony, Allison, and Emilee Weaver, we've gotten to the point where we can now actively engage in therapeutic horticulture. Last March, we've started a mini project, Big and Little Gardeners. Here are some examples of 2 groups involved in this project. Every week, we work with each group of kids. In our experience, each group really looks forward to visiting our botanical garden again and again. The most exciting thing might be our vegetable garden with our TH group. We have chosen a special location within our garden. We designed it and then had our kids to plant seeds and nurture the seedlings. And we have already harvested our first crop. All our TH participants are looking forward to tasting every new vegetable and fruit that shows up in our garden. Our special corner for rest and gathering together is still under construction, but already we are enjoying the shade during the summer season. We are proud of our work because this place underneath the oak tree has become a favorite place for all visitors in our garden. We appreciate all the help. Not only do young people enjoy their work, but they also gain practical skills and experience, which they may need in their future life. After a day of gardening, we love to relax with our groups, drinking tea with herbs grown in our garden. Especially popular is the swing underneath our oak tree. We are now using TH in our garden as part of our excursions, our workshops, and arts and crafts sessions. Since the beginning of war, we have invited hundreds of people, both adults and children, who have lost their homes and loved ones, providing them with positive experience and helping them to forget about problems for at least a moment in a friendly and supportive community. A special group to us are the defenders of our country, including graduates from the local military academy. Recently, this group planted a row of 40 Lebanese cedar trees. Our young officers now have a dream to see these trees grow old and show them to their children after the war. Our plans. We plan to build a gazebo for special gatherings and work parties. We also need to provide a heated corner for work with the public during the winter. And we plan to install interpretive signs for our visitors. Nowadays, every person in Ukraine is facing stress and trauma. Therapeutic horticulture is extremely needed. To develop and conduct TH programs, we need trained specialists and financial support. We are working and willing to work very hard. However, facing severe military aggression is extremely challenging. We cannot do it alone. Thank you for all your current and future support. And finally, the presentation by Kryvyi Rih Botanical Garden. There are more than 90,000 displaced people in our city. Almost all of them come from lands occupied by Russian troops. There are daily air raids and explosions in and around the city. This obviously affects everyone here. Our therapeutic horticulture programs are already providing emotional relief for our army veterans, their family members, and all residents of our city. By connecting our visitors to the natural world, we are able to give them contemplative experience. They can sit and inhale all the smiles or all the smells of our garden and listen to birds singing and enjoy the beauty of all our flowers. So we chose a site within our botanical garden with mature trees and bushes, lots of plant species for our visitors to enjoy. There, for our program, What Does Peace Smell Like? We planted patches of aromatic, sometimes pungent plants like lavender, mint, and thyme. These plants are labeled and described by our special interpretive signs, allowing visitors to learn about and connect with all these plants. We have a covered gazebo for people to rest, and also a special tree that we call the Tree of Trust. We invite our visitors to tie ribbons to this tree and share their worries with us. Here we are giving visitors the opportunity to touch plants and feel the life of those plants. We also invite our visitors to stop and smell the flowers. And there is nothing like a good hug to pick up your spirits. We work with local schools, travel agencies, and charitable organizations to lead tours for kids. In many ways, children in our country are the most vulnerable. Thanks to therapeutic gardening, our tours are in high demand. We interact with all our visitors and ask for feedback on how to improve our programs. We not only teach kids how to take care of plants, we also use storytelling and art to make our tours more fun. You can see from all those photos how engaged all these kids are. We also run master classes for adults. We work with them to make flower arrangements and paintings of our plants in the garden. A lot of visitors also like to help us with planting and raking the garden. Our garden closely collaborates with the local Defense Council, the City Department of Culture, and the local Veterans Service Office. Here are veterans planting a viburnum grove in memory of fallen Ukrainian soldiers. We also have special programs for moms to chat and get away from their worries. What are our plans for the future? We need to create more inclusive spaces in our garden for all our audiences. We need to train more specialists to lead programs for the public. And we need to expand our therapeutic horticulture programs to reach more people. Thank you for all your support.
And thank you so much, Ariadna, for giving voice to our partners and to our partners for demonstrating such an immense commitment to promoting nature-based healing opportunities for Ukrainians. These presentations certainly have spoken for themselves, and I appreciate all the work that's gone into them. Wow. Yeah, and in just a minute, we'll answer the questions you've submitted. And like Tony said, we'll be translating the Q&A section into Ukrainian so that our Ukrainian partners who have attended can answer questions that you may have for them. But first, I just wanted to remind everyone that after this webinar, you'll receive a link to this recording and a donation link through your email and in the chat. Please share the recording with others if you feel led, and if you'd like to support our work. Your gift will enable us to continue working with our partners, creating much needed resources, including the certificate program translation, providing live virtual trainings, and also cover some of the costs associated with the 2-week trip that we'll be taking in September. So your support means so much to us. And thank you very much for attending. So I'll hand it over to David to let us know what questions there are. And if anything else comes up, feel free to just add another question in the Q&A section.
Thank you, Emilee. I think this first question is for you. Could you please talk a bit more about how you were able to use AI in the designing of the TH program?
Yeah, it's a good question. We didn't actually use AI to develop the program or the training. We used it to translate what we've already developed. I guess I should allow the translation to occur, sorry.
Я би хотіла сказати, що це дуже цікаве питання, з яким ми будемо далі обговорювати, і я подам кілька прикладів.
So we were able to, so we created the certificate program in Articulate Storyline, and then basically we were able to extract the transcripts and the slide text and everything from it, and put that into AI, and then take that translation and give it to our Ukrainian partners to proofread it.
Ми підготували цю сертифіковану програму. Спочатку ми переглянули всю інформацію, яка у нас є, вибрали транскрипти, також підібрали відео, і тоді всю інформацію необхідну, яку ми зібрали, підсумуючи, передали нашим перекладачам з України, і для того, щоб вони все перечитали, переглянули і подали інформацію вже конкретну для нашого сайту.
And then we could take the proofread translation and feed it back into the Storyline program and manually, and then it creates a complete carbon copy of the course just in Ukrainian.
Тоді ми все вручну переглянули, переписали і створили точну копію, але вже на українській мові.
And in the chat, I also answered a question about some of the AI tools that have been really helpful for us that are either free or very cheap. So feel free to take a look at that. So when we're interacting on a daily basis, that has been really helpful too, so that Ukrainians can maintain speaking in Ukrainian in most cases, and then I can just translate it with an AI tool.
Якщо ви глянете в чаті я також відповіла на питання, які інструменти я використовувала для перекладу. Прошу перегляньте, будь ласка, вони також є або безкоштовні, або потрібно заплатити за них, але не дуже великі гроші. Вони допомагають нам в перекладі, і ви їх також можете використовувати.
Okay, our next question. Do you have any resources or tips for starting therapeutic horticulture programs for refugees from Ukraine to Canada?
Чи є у вас, а ще наступне питання, чи у вас є якісь програми для біженців з України в Канаді?
My first recommendation would be to listen to them. First and foremost, ask them what they need. And so maybe there are some Ukrainians on this call, on this webinar that may have some suggestions.
Моя перша рекомендація – це послухати, що вони дійсно потребують і що їх цікавиться. І тоді їм якось допомогти. Але, можливо, зараз тут на вебінарі які є українці, які більш обізнані в цьому питанні.
I'm definitely open to, anybody who would like to, Ukrainian who may want to give some input. The biggest thing that I've learned through this process, which has been incredible and humbling, is I think that people need the opportunity and the space to talk and to process this out loud, their experience. And I've noticed that in my relationships with the folks we've been working with, but that would be one of my first instincts, is to create programming that allows space for people to be together and communicate about what their experience has been.
Я відкрита до будь-яких пропозицій і питань, то якщо маєте якісь пропозиції або питання, рекомендації, будь ласка, звертайтеся. Але моя особиста точка зору є те, що людям потрібно місце або простір для того, щоб поговорити, поспілкуватися. І програма, над якою я працюю, яка мене інтересує, це те, щоб дати людям можливості поспілкуватися між собою, порозмовляти. І це, я вважаю, є одним з найважливіших факторів.
I could just add something there, Emilee, if it's okay. And that is that, and probably many in the audience know this, all around the US and Canada, there are TH programs or other programs related to nature healing, forest bathing. There are many sort of related programs. They're often based in botanical gardens, and there are botanical gardens in almost all major and even minor level cities. So that's just investigating those local resources is probably the best start. If there is a language barrier with Ukrainian and English, that's a slightly separate issue. One resource, of course, is going to be the course that will be in Ukrainian that folks can use who use Ukrainian instead of English mostly.
Я б хотів також додати, що якщо ви переглянете ботанічні сади або якісь сторінки в США і також в Канаді, то ви можете знайти багато ресурсів по цьому питанні. Важливим аспектом може бути теж мовний бар'єр, що багато просто не знають мови. Це буде окреме питання.
Okay, our next question. Are there any plants that are popular or particularly symbolic in Ukraine?
Наступне питання. Чи є якісь рослини, квіти, які є дуже популярні в Україні або символічні?
Maybe Andriy could answer that question for us. Yeah.
Пане Андрій, можливо, ви відповісте на таке питання?
Так, звичайно, з приємністю. В нас є чимало видів рослин, які ототожнюються з Україною, які є традиційними, які є національними символами.
Yes, I would like to answer this question. And we have a lot of different plants, different flowers that are associated with Ukraine.
Навіть минулоріч була така ідея зробити такий проект разом з Partnerships for Nature, власне, рослини-символи України. На жаль, ми його допоки не реалізували, але це дуже перспективно, цікаво і насправді патріотично.
It's a very interesting question. Last year, we planned together with Partnership for Nature to create such kind of program, such a project, the plants, flowers that are symbolized with Ukraine. It's very good and very interesting project. So we hope that we'll do it and fulfill it in future.
І часто рослини можуть бути як загалом символами України або окремого регіону України. І це цікавий перспективний проєкт, який би мав широке зацікавлення.
It's a very good project, and because some plants can be associated only to some kind of to some regions of Ukraine, and some plants are associated to the whole territory, to the whole country, Ukraine.
I would like to add that the kind of tree bush of Ukraine that I think every Ukrainian says that it's symbolic to them. It has a Latin name, viburnum, and I put it in chat because it might not come out through my pronunciation very well.
Рослина, яка є дуже популярна в Україні, як на мене і для інших, вона називається, в латинській мові це є вібурнум, яку я пишу,
Каліна.
яку я пишу назву в чаті, і Аріадна допомагає, це буде в перекладі калина.
Step in momentarily. Excuse me.
In English, it's Guelder Rose.
David is adjusting. His power has gone out due to our storm.
Yeah, Wi-Fi here. I'll let you take over Q&A, Joanna.
All right, happy to do that. So another question is, any certificate to be provided to participants?
Наступне питання, чи будуть якісь сертифікати для учасників цього семінару?
Once the certificate, the online certificate is fully translated, then we can provide a certificate at that point. It'll be a little bit different from our English version in the sense that there isn't a live component with the Ukrainian program.
Онлайн-сертифікат може бути представлений, але він буде перекладений на українську, він є трошечки інший, ніж англійська версія його.
But we're hoping that with our Ukrainian partners, there may be an opportunity to have a Ukrainian actually provide the live component in collaboration with the translated online content.
Можливо, співпрацею з нашими колегами ми зможемо це надати перекладений сертифікат.
And the final question, are medical and psychology backgrounds needed to be a horticultural therapist?
І останнє питання, чи потрібні якісь медичні або психологічні знання, як засади, щоб стати як займатися лікувальним садівництвом?
That's a great question. So it's a little confusing, but there's a difference between horticultural therapy and therapeutic horticulture.
Я хочу сказати, що це є велика різниця між лікувальним садівництвом і садівництвом, яке лікує.
To become a horticultural therapist, you need college level training in horticultural therapy, and then a certain number of college credits in human services, and then in plant sciences.
Я хочу сказати, що щоб займатися лікувальним садівництвом, треба пройти курс в університеті.
So many people who are in medical fields or mental health fields, choose to become trained in a therapeutic horticulture or horticultural therapy and integrate it into their work.
Я хочу додати, що деякі люди, які займаються лікувальним садівництвом, вони мають медичне підґрунтя, медичну освіту.
But therapeutic horticulture is a little more community-based versus clinical. And so while clinical training is very helpful, it's not always needed. And that's why when we work with public gardens, we usually work within the therapeutic horticulture model.
Я хочу сказати, що лікувальне садівництво добре, коли є медична освіта, але зазвичай, коли ми працюємо з людьми, з ботанічними садами, і воно не завжди є потрібне.
So anyone is eligible for our TH program online, and there's no time when you need to be at class. during the day. So it's self-paced and you can join from any time zone.
Хто є зацікавлений нашими курсами, вони не прив'язані до часу. Ви можете їх будь-коли читати, вчитися, коли вам пасує.
And if you ever want to get updates on our courses or online events or trainings, then you're welcome to sign up for our monthly newsletter, and a lot of good information and opportunity to ask questions about therapeutic programming is available through that newsletter.
Якщо ви зацікавлені, інтересуєтеся нашими курсами, якимись оновленнями і інформацією, будь ласка, ви можете підписатися на нашу сторінку мейлом і отримувати інформацію, а також, якщо у вас є якісь питання, то, будь ласка, задавайте мейлово.
And we've just put a link in the chat so that you can follow that if you'd like to subscribe.
Якщо ви хотіли підписатися, також ми надішлемо лінк в чаті.
Okay. Well, thank you, Andriy, Ariadna, Tony, Emilee, and all our guest presenters from the video. And thank you also, Miroslava, for your kind translation. We want to thank everybody for attending today and for your interest in this important topic. And botanical gardens and any place offering nature-based healing are special places for healing. My hope is that many more people can find a sense of peace and smell peace to pull from the presentation and the gardens of our guest presenters and their local colleagues. And you all attending can help this to continue to happen. Attendees will get a follow-up email with a link to a recording of this presentation. Feel free to share that with anyone you know who may be interested, and details on how to donate to this amazing work that is in need of your continued support. Thank you all once again, and take care.
Thank you.